2027. A year many defense analysts, global strategists, and geopolitical experts are eyeing with growing intensity. Not because of a single event, but because of the trajectory the world is heading toward and in particular, the role Russia's missile program is set to play. In this video, we dive deep into the projected state of the Russian missile arsenal in 2027, the strategic doctrines surrounding it, and what the world might look like if current trends continue. To understand what 2027 might hold, we have to look back at where the Russian missile program came from. From the Cold War's height, through the turbulent 90s, and into the high-investment, high-tech developments of the 2000s and 2010s. Russia's missile program has always been central to its military identity. In fact, many would argue it's the crown jewel of its now. Let's talk about 2027. If current plans are executed as intended, by this year Russia is expected to complete several key upgrades across its strategic missile forces. The RS-28's armored, often referred to as Satan II by NATO, is projected to fully replace the aging Soviet-era R-36M ICBMs. These missiles are not just replacements, they represent a generational leap. Capable of carrying up to 15 independently targetable warheads, traveling thousands of kilometers, and reaching speeds that push the limits of interception, this armor is a psychological as well as a strategic weapon. By 2027, Russia aims to have a full complement of these deployed in multiple missile divisions across its territory, from the icy expanse of the Plesetsk Cosmodrome to deep within the central command zones of the Russian strategic rocket forces. President Putin himself has repeatedly emphasized that strategic deterrence remains the #1 priority of Russia's defense strategy. It's no accident that armored, Vanguard, Zircon, and Kinzhal are regularly highlighted in major addresses. Russia isn't just developing these weapons as deterrents, they're signaling tools. They're statements to the world: Russia remains a top-tier power. By 2027, the Russian military plans to further refine its doctrine of escalate to de-escalate, a controversial and often misunderstood concept. The doctrine theorizes that limited use of tactical nuclear weapons are delivered potentially by dual-capable Iskander or Kinzhal systems that could compel adversaries to back down in a high-intensity conflict. Critics in the West call this reckless. Russian strategists call it, what does this mean for NATO, for Europe, for Asia, for the US? It means planning for a future where hypersonic threats are not just theoretical, they're operational. Russia has already fielded the Vanguard hypersonic glide vehicle, mounted on its 100 Newtons missiles. These can maneuver unpredictably at Mach 20 and above, making traditional missile defense systems virtually obsolete. By 2027, Russia is expected to have not just a few demonstration units of a Vanguard, but a significant arsenal. Reports suggest full-scale production lines are being expanded. And we're not just talking about the big strategic weapons, Russia is also expanding its tactical missile capabilities. Zircon, a ship-launched hypersonic missile, may be standard equipment across the Northern and Pacific fleets by 2027. Its ability to strike naval or land targets with near-zero response time is transforming maritime warfare. What's even more telling is where these missiles are being deployed. The Arctic, Kaliningrad, the Kuril Islands. These are not just defense zones, they're geopolitical chess pieces. By equipping these regions with state-of-the-art missile systems, Russia is reinforcing its posture in disputed or contested zones. But it's not just about physical missiles. By 2027, electronic warfare, satellite jamming, and cyber-enabled missile guidance are all expected to be deeply integrated into Russian operations. The future battlefield will be digital, and Russia knows it. That's why its investment into dual-use civilian military satellite constellations, GLONASS upgrades, and radar over-the-horizon systems is ramping up. Strategically, the outlook is shifting. Analysts are beginning to speak of missile diplomacy in the way people once spoke of gunboat diplomacy. Showcasing Zircon launches during joint naval patrols with China in the Pacific, or deploying Iskander systems during Belarusian exercises. So these are no longer just exercises. They're deliberate messages to the will 2027 be the year we see a global treaty to control hypersonic weapons? Unlikely. Trust is at an all-time low. The INF treaty is gone. The New START treaty may not be renewed. Arms control, for now, is frozen. And in that vacuum, nations act. So what does the rest of the world do in response? The United States is accelerating its own hypersonic programs. NATO is deepening integration of air defense and missile shield systems. Japan, South Korea, India all are investing in early warning satellites and counter-hypersonic systems. But here's the catch: these systems are expensive, complex, and still largely unproven. That's what makes Russia's head start so dangerous. With a functioning, combat-tested suite of hypersonic and intercontinental weapons, it holds a form of strategic initiative. In a confrontation, this could give Russian commanders a brief window of superiority, a first strike or denial of access capability that no one yet can reliably. 2027 isn't just about technology, it's about posture. Morality. Doctrine. Who blinks first? Who believes deterrence is still valid in a hypersonic age? And who's willing to escalate if the red lines are crossed? The conflict in Ukraine reshaped the geopolitical landscape and served as a live demonstration of Russian combined arms doctrine. But more importantly, it proved one thing: Russia is willing to use hard power to achieve strategic goals. The missile program, by 2027, will likely be seen not just as a deterrent but as a tool of compellence. A way to shape the world, not just defend against. In confidential briefings, several defense analysts believe Russia could use missile force deployments as leverage in future negotiations, offering to limit deployments in return for sanctions relief or NATO repositioning. It's not disarmament. It's bargaining. Meanwhile, deep in Siberia, in mobile transporter erector launchers, and in underground silos protected by hundreds of tons of reinforced concrete, the missiles wait. Silent. Ready. With ranges that reach across oceans. With speeds that outrun defenses. And with warheads that could change the course of civilization. Voiceover. So what will 2027 really bring? A more secure world where balance through strength keeps the peace? Or a more dangerous one, where miscalculation, miscommunication, or overconfidence leads us to the brink? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. In the world of global power projection, Russia's missile program will remain at the very center of the equation. Voiceover. Subscribe to Russian Military Missile for more in-depth breakdowns, analysis, and exclusive footage from the front lines of global defense. Stay sharp. Stay aware. The future is moving fast.